was a year later, and no one saw this movie coming. I mean, it's not as good as the original, but it's the first sequel to the franchise to introduce Anguirus, spiked dinosaur creature that fights Godzilla in this movie. This is 81 minutes long, so it's pretty short. I won't be here for 2 hours like yesterday with Star Trek Into Darkness. It's a lot shorter than that. It gets right to the point. It doesn't waste an hour of build up because you know what Godzilla is. There's the. Yep, Godzilla's returned. The score is different too. The score is different. It's a different director too, because Ishiro Honda was too busy doing something else. He was doing Rodan at the time. Different cast, mostly. DVD's very loud, so I have to lower it a little bit. The costume is also different. It's a lot lighter. Here's the casting. Yeah. Hiroshi Kozumi is Anguirus. I didn't see this one as a kid. I never rented it, and they never gave it on TV. They gave this movie on TV like once every like 5 years or something. They never give the dub version on TV because it was one of those films that was just rare to find. They always gave the original on TV and versus Mothra, Monster Zero, things like that, but not this one. This is the black sheep of the franchise. But is it the worst? Yeah. Matayoshi Oda directed this one. Different director, faster pace, shorter movie. Sometimes that's all I ask for. I don't want a movie that's twice as long as the original. Plus, unlike the American version, this is longer by 2 minutes, and it's all the stock footage and the narration is gone. There he is. This is our new main character, Skioka, right? Yeah. I recognize him from other Godzilla movies. The water, someplace I'm never gonna go in. The ocean? No, I couldn't fly over the ocean. You don't know what's in there. And also the grim tone of this one is way lighter. It still has dark moments, but it's not. It is not. It is not as grim as the original. This director didn't want to scare off audiences in the sequel. This was literally made a year after the original Godzilla. It's got that same look in black and white, but it's not. It's not a drama like the first one. It's not people suffering in hospitals and singing. No, it's way lighter. It's not a comedy though, like the first one, like the later ones. Skilkaki. She's cute. And unlike Emiko, she's not crying every 2 seconds. Here's He's cute as a button. I like girls that squint. That's my thing. That's why just like, why you're so into Haley Steinfeld. Once she smiles, she squints, and that's adorable. She's like, I love that. There's Kobayashi. Good morning, John. Unlike Godzilla X Kong, the Empire, this movie doesn't waste too much time on the human characters. No, there's human characters here. But they're introduced quick. They give them a little backstory, and there we go. We don't have like 18 flashbacks in the movie. Awato Island, yeah. These movies are just classics. Even the worst ones, I hate Godzilla's Revenge, even as a kid, because there's so much stock footage. But the earlier ones they're just, made with hands. They're not made with computers. Huh? Yokai. Because I didn't see these Japanese versions until I was in college. Because I refused to read subtitles as a kid. I didn't want to do it. Reading is for school, or when you're going to read something at home. She's cute. She has short hair and it's curly. I love it. And I'm not seeing any Chinese movies. I'm not going to acknowledge them because of what they put me through this year. Just I'll post a picture of a girl that's Chinese and that's it. I'm not seeing Mulan or anything. No, I'm spent, guys. I'm spent. I'd rather see Japanese films or Korean films or Vietnamese films or Indonesian or Cambodian or anything. But China, not going to happen this time. They need to be put on the sidelines this time. I always prefer Japan anyway. It's a smaller country. They're not as racist, and they didn't try to poison us this in the past 5 years. Also, they give us the best electronics we've ever had. Without them, we would not have Nintendo or the PlayStation or anything like that, or cell phones or anything like that. A lot of technology is usually from Japan. The best stuff is made there. Sorry, China, but you don't own this world. You're bigger than Japan, but you're not more technologically advanced as they are. Yep. There's Kobayashi. Yeah, they show the monsters a lot sooner in this one. Like in the first 10 minutes, usually you have to wait a lot longer, even in the later sequels. Like Ghidorah doesn't come on screen until like 30 minutes in. They did that because they wanted to set things up. The first act of a play or a show or even a movie is setup. Then you have the part. Then you have the finale. A three-act structure usually works. It's worked for many years. Oh, yes, I hear you, Kobayashi. Those are not air. Those are not charter planes. Those are like planes that Those planes have propellers. They're not airliners. Skyoka. This is the last Godzilla movie that was done in black and white. Everything after this was in color. King Kong versus Godzilla, Godzilla versus Mothra, Ghidorah, Monster Zero versus the Sea Monster. They were all in color. Because color took over after the 50s. Radio girls. See, they don't hear the roars in this version. And they see the monsters, though. Oh, yeah, buddy. There he is. Cheaper looking Godzilla, but it's still there. It's a different Godzilla because the first one died with the oxygen destroyer. They don't even mention it here. There's Anguirus. Yeah. Yeah, they fight in the first 9 minutes of the movie. See, we don't have to wait an hour. What is that? He lives. And unlike the 2014 movie, they don't cut away of the monsters fighting. We get to see a little bit of scruffle between them. I didn't see this one as a kid, and it was called Gigantus the Fire Monster for some reason. They never called Godzilla Gigantus. He's never been called that in any of the films, of the other films. There they are. Why are they fighting? Because again, monsters have to fight each other. Uh, it is a different movie. And there they go. They're falling in the water. Whee! They really did that. That was not CGI. It's amazing that this franchise is still going on. We haven't seen Anguirus in a while. We should see him in a new movie. Love to see him in the next movie as one of like a cameo or something. Because we haven't seen him since Final Wars. So there's the pagoda. There's still destruction scenes in buildings and things like that, but it's not as much as the first one. Osaka said, yeah, he attacks Osaka this time, not Tokyo. There's the dinosaur pictures. Interesting. Yeah. Ankylosaurus. Dr. Yamane is the only character from the first film here. There he is. He survived the first movie. Emiko's not in this one because she was doing something else. Mm-hmm. Ankylosaurus, yeah. Anguirus. I can get us, yeah. I remember Anguirus. I first saw him in the later films, like uh, Godzilla versus Gigan, Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla. Yeah, he was also in Destroy All Monsters, but I didn't see that until I was an adult. These films were impossible to find on VHS and DVD back in the day. Now you can find them online, and they're out of print. Why? Because they're classics, guys. They have them on streaming, but it's just not the same to have the thing streaming. It's not the same because you don't own the movie. You just can see it when they have it. When you own it, you can see it anytime you want. That's why physical media is better. I will always bat for physical media. Then you have the movie forever. Nobody can steal it from you. Digital copies can fade in an instant. Mothra is not a dinosaur. Mothra is a bug. A giant moth. They show footage from the first movie, of course, because this is connected. This has continuity with that one. Most of the films did have some kind of continuity. The next one was King Kong versus Godzilla, and Godzilla comes out of the iceberg from this one. Mm-hmm. They can't defeat him. Well, Mothra had her own film, and then there was Godzilla versus Mothra. It's a beautiful girl. I didn't know it was a girl because, again, I didn't know what gender they were. That wasn't specified in the original series until years later. But it's a she because she gives birth to babies, so it's a girl. Here we go. The stuff footage from the first movie. I saw this. We just saw this movie a few days ago. It's still a classic, man. There's no narration in the American version. Yep, you towers are going down. So if you missed the first movie, this gives you a little recap of it. Mostly the destruction Godzilla did. That suit still looks amazing, even decades later. Yep. Burn it down, Godzilla. Burn it down. Absolutely amazing. They had to show the first movie because in case you missed it. Because sequels have to at least reference something that happened in the past. Good sequels, anyway. You can't pretend the first one didn't exist. There it is. Marching through Japan. That still gives me chills, man. That's right. Run away. And there's no dialogue. It's just showing this footage of the first movie. And instead of using a flashback, they just show the screen. So someone filmed all this. Hmm. Unbelievable. Plus, they brightened up the movie. You know how in the original, it's very dark. You can't see Godzilla some parts because they keep it in the shadows. And this film, they made it much brighter, so you can see the destruction much better. That is awesome, man. I love this franchise so much. The Brits can never ruin it because they tried to. Ever since the first 2014 movie, it's like we're gonna put a Brit in every one of these, and you failed. It's not a British franchise; it's Japanese. That was awesome. That recap was what, like less than a minute, and you got what he's about. My mom told me it was a girl when I saw the poster of her for the King of the Monsters. But if they do a mother's film in the MonsterVerse, let Caitlyn be in that. Yeah, she's gonna be great. She's not a Brit, Josh. That alone is gonna be soothing. Yeah, Sarazawa. Yeah, he passed. He died. Caitlyn can act, and she's older than Millie Bobby Brown. Give me her any day, and that gorgeous big nose over a British chick that's pretending to be American and everything. I'm not stupid, Netflix. I'm not stupid. Caitlin's gonna make this work. You don't have to make her a boring girl in a suit. You can like Bryce Dallas Howard in Jurassic World. You can make her fun and colorful and not, you know, not a demographic. You know what I mean? And don't let her kill anybody. That's not. I don't like to see Caitlin killing people, especially someone that's completely defenseless. That's why I stopped watching The Last of Us because it's just mean spirited. I mean, the whole show is miserable. Everybody's got to be mad with each other and sad and just, and also it's not it's not entertaining anymore. I didn't say over sexualized, Josh. It's a PG-13. They're not gonna have a scene like a Michael Bay movie where it's just sticking out. They're not gonna do that. But they're not gonna make her a girl in a suit. It's not gonna happen. I've seen that already. Kyo Fishing Inc. Hmm. If it's killing a creature, I don't mind that. Like if it's a bug or something, but I don't want her killing people. I just can't see that. It's just not in her nature. If you see her in Booksmart, she's not bloodthirsty in that. She has her limits, but she's not a violent person in that movie. There's not a scene where her and uh, Billy Lord or this girl Beanie that they're punching each other. No, that would be mean spirited. This is him and his girlfriend. Yeah, Baccarat. Don't be silly. Only your face came to my mind. That's nice. She is so cute. She looks like a Nia Damison or like a what's her face like Haley Steinfeld. Even though Steinfeld's Filipina, not Japanese. It's not in her nature. Like she took a risk, but it's hard to watch. And people like, oh, the fourth episode was bad. I'm like, yeah, that's why I gave up, guys. I don't want to follow Bella Ramsey. Sorry, she can't. She doesn't always play girly, but she is girly, Josh. There's nothing that we can do about that. You're not gonna make her a non-binary. That's impossible. I'm attracted to her. That's gonna stay that way. I told you she was getting a franchise, and if it's this one, I'll take it. I'll take it. I don't want her being in Marvel and then they underuse her like they did with the girl from Endgame that played Cassie. She's in 2 scenes in the movie, so there's some scenes in here that are not that great. Mainly a lot of build up, but it's shorter than the original. I could say that because sometimes the sequel's even longer. People want to hate on everything because they're hurt because of the pandemic. It made people dumber and much more mean spirited. You saw the toys they have. Here we go. Another flying scene. We're 21 minutes in. See, that's a pretty large chunk of the film for a film this short. It goes pretty fast. It doesn't feel long. Because I've seen sequels that are much longer than the original that just drag. Like Into Darkness was way longer than than the 2009 movie, and that's why Beyond was a little shorter. They had to make it shorter to cut all the filler out. Shikoku. Shikoku. Caitlin had more dignity when she did Uncharted 4, because at least that wasn't as dark as Last of Us. It's more hopeful. Nathan Drake is not a sourpuss. He's not killing people out of nowhere. In self-defense, yes, but a defenseless person, no. That's just mean-spirited. Even the Punisher wouldn't do that. See, there's a lighter tone in this movie. Yeah, it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be a melodrama. This is a franchise about a giant monster. You can only take it seriously for so long. It sounds like Christmas, Christmas time is here. Time for joy and time for cheer. It sounds just like that Alvin and the Chipmunk song, just in Japanese. Because it was the style of the 50s. Da, da, da. Beautiful Asian girl. There was no dancing in the original Godzilla. I appreciate they subtitled the song. And there we go. Here comes interruption. Yep, and people are running. Because unlike in the original, where they're on a boat, yeah, this guy took the drums with him. Yeah, because that's more important than your life. A drum set. Yeah, there was a blackout a couple of days ago, guys. I didn't tell you about it. That's why I didn't do a podcast Sunday, because I was out, and also there was a blackout in my area for about 90 minutes. I had no power. I had to use battery power on my phone just to get through it. I hope that never happens again this month, because good God, it was terrible. I had no electricity, no Wi-Fi, nothing. I just had to use what I had. I'm glad I'm using less power now. When I'm done with something, I unplug it. I don't leave it plugged in for hours because it's bad for the environment. It's like that song that Dove Cameron sang in that episode of Austin and Alley. It sounds like the Tiny Toon theme, you know. Take a Billy and a Bobby. I'm like, that's the Tiny Toons theme, guys. We're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony. I'm like, it's the same thing. It's weird how some songs sound just like another song. This one sounds like a Chipmunks ballad that was made in the 50s. It's weird, man. Life is so strange. And this movie came out in 1956. It didn't come out in America till 1959, so it was years later because they had to dub it, and it was hard to get a hold of Japanese movies back then. Now you could just release them at the same time as an American dub. They do that with all these animes that come out in the theaters, like Demon Slayer, One Piece, My Hero Academia. They get a dub and they get a Japanese version. Yeah, it's weird, Josh. It's one of the weirdest songs I've heard in Austin Alley because it sounds like the Tiny Toon theme. There he is in the water. There's his head. It's still Hao Nakajima in the suit, just like in the first one. The look of the film is a lot like the original, but like I said, it's not as grim. They had to make it less grim because this franchise is not supposed to be a drama. Look at those teeth. Godzilla's still a threat here. He's not a joke. He's not like jumping in the air and doing a drop kick in midair or flying or doing a dance. No, he's dead serious in these. Yep, time to flee, villagers, just like in every film. It's a formula that's familiar, but it works. Evacuating. Yeah, they do that in almost every film. I don't know about -1. I'm going to see that hopefully this weekend. Take that, Tower. That was more of an accident because he hit the thing with his tail. Yamaji. Hidemi, that's her name, the name girl. See, nothing deep here, but they're characters that are serviceable. They're not annoying or just fill time like that stupid female character from Star Trek Into Darkness. You could have cut her out of the movie, and it would not make a difference because she doesn't serve a purpose in the plot. Demi's the main girl in the movie, so she's there for more emotional support. They destroy the factory though. Him and Angerus. Those are the prisoners, yeah. Some of them are familiar to the franchise. One of them is was in Mothra and in Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster. That guy was in the original, but he was another character. There's a lot of quiet moments in this one compared to the original, whereas it's loud and it's very, very, deep. There's a lot happening in it. An epileptic seizure, yeah. That's not in the original, in the English version. Yep, they're escaping. They do escape, but they don't escape with their lives later in the film. The long arm of the law will always catch up with you, criminals. See, they caught a couple of them, and the other ones escaped. The truck, yeah. Yep, they're trying to do a getaway. Caltex. Yeah, there's a lot of human characters in this movie. They're just not it's not as serious, which is fine. This would not have bored me as a kid because it's short. It wasn't 2.5 hours like some movies I saw later in my life. Movies are just too long now. They can't be 80 minutes anymore. They got to be like 2.5 hours or 2:45 or 3 hours. No, get to the point a lot faster, guys. Animated movies know that. That's why Despicable Me has never gone over an hour and 35 minutes. Because you don't have to have a 2 hour Despicable Me movie. It would drag. Hi, Six Side Blaze Killer. That's a cool name. I don't know who you are, but oh, yep, no smoking, and they die. See, I told you crime doesn't pay. Some of them blow up, and then some of them drown later in the film when Godzilla's attacking this factory. Mm-hmm. Flame on. There's Godzilla again. Fire. I see fire. There's the roar. They just need to stop with Despicable Me after Minions 3. Yeah, they're gonna stop, Josh. Don't worry. They're not gonna make 15 movies. They have to know when to stop. This isn't the Land Before Time where after 4 I was getting tired. I'm like, they did 15 movies. Sorry about that, but I had to delete some girl pictures of myself. I had to delete some pictures mainly because of I had repetition. I had doubles. Here comes Godzilla heading to the factory. It's not gonna do anything. Did these people see the first movie? Because Despicable Me 4 ended fine. You don't need another movie after that. Mm. That's right. Walk right underground. At least this title's not misleading. Godzilla does raid again, all over Japan. Just not Tokyo this time. Osaka and the Osaka area. There it is. The breath comes 37 minutes in. It's a lot sooner than the original. Yep, you're toast. Sure. There's Anguirus. Yep. Mm. This is their second fight in the movie. Mm-hmm. Here we go again. More tussling. Both of these actors have been Godzilla. Because the guy in the Anguirus suit was in the original. He did some of the stunt work. Oh. Look at Anguirus has a tail too. And spikes on his back. Yep, it's a biting match. Subaraya, yeah, some of his effects still hold up even from 1955. I mean, this movie's over 70 years old. It turned 70 this year in Japan. And I'm like, yeah, some of the effects still look great because it's not CGI. I have duplicates because sometimes I post the same picture from a different angle. And it's not my fault. I can't remember every photo I took or downloaded over the years. And look at this mess. That refinery is done, man. It's screwed up. The property damages are to the roof. Boom. Yep. Look at the Demi just looking out the window. They're just overly sensitive because they're like, oh, you showing her panties, how dare you? I'm like, we're men. When you're heterosexual, you're going to show Not tell. They only flagged one of my videos because it had copyrighted music, but it's fine. It's not a big deal. Oh, yeah. There they go, tussling again. They're moving fast because they sped up the camera. That's why they look like they're, yep, biting his neck. Look at how fast they're moving. Yeah, that's because of the camera. They put the camera speed too fast, so it made the monsters look like they're running and that they're doing the flash. Hey, the faster we can kill each other in this movie, the better. With these monsters, you don't watch a wrestling match in slow motion or an MMA fight. You want to see fast-paced action. Yeah, those are the criminals that escape, but not for long. Yeah, bite his neck. The shots in this movie are still pretty good for 1955. It's a really old film, but it doesn't feel like, oh, this is so dated. Yep, you're toast. Well, the building didn't fall on them. Yeah, let's go take the train. Yeah, that's not going to save you either. See, they jumped the turnstile, didn't pay the fare. Never do that, guys. If you go on the subway, don't jump over the turnstile. Woo, we're safe. No, you're not. Sorry. Those buildings need to come down. Uh-oh. It's like the earthquake ride. No, they drowned. Yep, he drowned them. More fighting. The prisoners are all dead because, again, you can't run away from your crimes. Look at Gangers. It's like he's smiling at him. I can see the strings on the tail, yeah. But again, they did this practically. There's no CGI here. Nowadays, they would just have the monsters fighting in CG, and that would be it. But back then, they had to try harder in the 50s. Mm-hmm. Oh. That pagoda is done. If there's a pagoda in a monster movie, it's gonna get crumbling down or crashed or burnt or something. Yep, he's biting the neck. That pagoda crumbled like a cookie. Yep, you're going down. Yep, he bites his neck. There's a little bit of gore here, look. There's some blood, yeah. That was rare in the 50s when they showed blood. Yep, Anguirus is done. You see, put up a fight. It's Godzilla's first fight against another monster, which will be a tradition for the rest of the series in most of the other films, except for -1 and and Shin Godzilla, and also the 1985. There's no other monsters in that, and he burned it. He burned them alive. He burned them to the ground. Flames, just like the original film. Battle of the Century is over. No, not even close. He's tired. He's leaving for the sea. And there's a destruction scene just like in the original. But it's not a copy of the original. It does its own thing. That's why they put another monster. Shabaki. We're 48 minutes in. Hokkaido. What a mess. This is the aftermath. That building is damaged so badly. Thomas Duck, I don't know who that is. Hmm. Girls are not fish. They like to bow. See a lighter tone because after what happened, it's good to lighten the mood up a little bit, not be so glum and gloom and doom. Hey, look, a snow scene. That wasn't in the original. There was no snow in the original. It was mostly it was rain and then sunshine. No snow. That snow does look nice. It does snow in Japan. Kaio fishing incorporated. Hmm. But someone has to die in this movie because in the original it was Sarazawa, in this one Kobayashi dies. Spoiler alert! In the third act, when they're flying over the snow mountain. Hmm. Hold on. Codfish. Yeah. Oh, Konnichiwa. Yeah, that's Japan. Oh, that's or or Moshi. I think one of those is a hello over there. Hmm. Yeah, it's not doom and gloom like the original. There's some dark moments in it, but it like tries to lighten up the mood a little bit, which is fine. It makes it different. This isn't a Tim Burton movie or a Shiro Honda movie. It's a different movie entirely. We're about halfway through the film. So good luck for your big haul. Someone special. There's only one other girl character in the movie. Who do you think it is? It's the girl that was working with Hidemi in the beginning of the film. Nami. The more recognizable faces. See, they squint a lot. Tajima. Captain Terazawa. Yeah. Squinty eyes make girls seem cuter. See, they sit on the floor when they eat or drink. She's so cute. It's why you love Asian women so much. Yeah, the squinty eyes and their dark hair, and how soft and petite they are. They're just gentle creatures most of the time. Some of them are loud, but it's mostly the Chinese that are really loud. I noticed that because they like to protest, if you know what I mean. Saki. Hey, look, there's a bird in the background. Mount Fuji's in the background. A funny nickname. Again, they try to keep this a secret. We know who the girl is. It's the only other girl in the movie. I mean, it's like seeing Booksmart. There's only two main girls in the main plot, and I'm like, who do you think is gonna be the one I'm in love with? It's not that hard, guys. Or in the Loud House, I'm like, there's a lot of girls in that show, in the cartoon and in the live action show. A Godzilla-like creature. The SOS is just passing lost contact. Akita. Hup. Now they're flying again. It's like Top Gun Maverick, except this movie's like an hour shorter. The score is decent. It's not as good as the original, but it has its own identity at least. Dodo. Such a classic, man. For what it is, you know. It's not a. It's not a. It's not. It's not the classic that the original is, but it's its own. You know, it has its own rewards. Yeah, now he shows her. Like, we know who it is. Mm-hmm. He shows her the picture. I'm like, we know who it is. I mean, who? What other girl could it be? It's not a mystery girl that comes out of nowhere. It's a handbag. I can't resist a woman's charm. I just can't. You know how I am. There's Godzilla in the water again. This is the third act, so yokai. Yeah, they have to use coordinates. They didn't have map. They didn't have cell phones back then to check the map. Poor Kobayashi, man. She never sees him again. But they don't have to say a stupid line like in Craven. My grandmother died and I never saw her again. I'm like, what do you think death is? Yeah, she finds her out. Who's the mystery girl? Yeah, it's the girl that you work with. You can't put two and two together. He likes her. I'm like, yeah, she's the only other woman in the movie. That's a side character because there was the lady when they were drinking earlier, but that's a cameo. The only Godzilla movie without a female main character is Megalon, which I don't have, so I won't be doing that one because they just have these girls that dance and that's it. There's no female main characters in that. It's just a little boy, the two guys, and then the villains. That's it. The human villains. 65 minutes in. Yeah, this is when they try to cover him in ice. That is different than the original. There's the music again. There he is. It's a Godzilla model. He's not even moving. They didn't have a bigger budget. No, not in this one. He's just standing there. Mm-hmm. They're trying to trap him in ice in this scene. Mm-hmm. He's a kamikaze because he dies. I know you're your own person, Josh. I am too. We're almost done. Thankfully, the movie's nice and short. Yep, that's not gonna hurt him. Those bombs won't even hurt him. It's not working, no, because conventional weapons don't hurt him. Yep, and he dies. That's Kobayashi's death. 69 minutes into the movie. You thought he could stop him, and he should have just jumped out of the plane. It's still not as dramatic as Sarazawa's death because this was not an accident. This was an accident, not. He didn't kill himself. The ice. Use the avalanche. Mm-hmm. No, not the ice. Not the ice. Still a better ending than The Last Jedi. That had to take 2 hours to get to the Salt planet. Yes, Salt. It's just a ripoff of Hoth. Yeah, dragons and the mushroom kids from the Mushroom Kingdom. The toads, you mean? Amy is gonna sell. Well, yeah, she is. Wait till she shows up in the next Sonic movie. He's dead, yeah. Ahsoka. See, she cried, but it's not the whole movie. You know, because with Emiko in the first film, she's just very sad a lot. This isn't like Wakanda Forever, where everybody's just sad for most of the film. I can't handle the sequel like that. It's just too draining. Where everybody's just depressed and sad, and he wanted to marry that girl, and now he can't. And then he got depressed, but again, it's earned here. Kobayashi was her friend. They have to announce the voice of her. They're talking how they're gonna bury Godzilla in the snow. Yes. Amy could be Eva, Ellie, Caitlin, Avantika, Naya, Anna, Natalia, or you mean Natalia? You spelled it wrong. Someone cutesy, yeah. Someone cutesy that's young. She has to be younger than Ben Schwartz. She has a youthful voice. Yeah, this is when the soldiers run on the. Why can't Godzilla use his breath? Because the cold is probably affecting his powers. And also, this didn't have the budget the first film did. Yep, running on the snow. Gasoline barrels. We're almost done, yeah. The movie's pretty short. I appreciate the short length because some of the recent Godzilla movies have been almost 2 hours and they don't need to be that long. King of the Monsters was 2 hours. It could have been shorter. Like I said, it's not like Millie Bobby Brown was a deep character. No, she's there to fill time. He's trying to walk crawl out. And the acting's fine for the time. Slowly walking out of the snow and the ice. But they still bury him. This explains why he breaks out of the ice in King Kong versus Godzilla. I was like, oh, that's how it happened. Because I didn't see this movie until years later. Sadie will be great. I'm not worried about her because on Stranger Things she carries a lot of that show in the later seasons. She already proved that she can act when she was a teenager, and now she's in her 20s, so she's in good hands. She's not going to be wasted. That roar is still iconic. There's no buildings there at the on the ice. Only 3 more minutes. Yeah. Yep. There come more planes. Similar to the ending of King Kong, except they don't shoot him down. They just shoot down the ice and bury Godzilla in the ice. Yeah. Again, Sadie had to carry a lot of the scenes because she didn't. Her brother was abusive in that show, and I'm like, he got what he deserved. Billy, it's a terrible character. Montgomery was nothing but a jerk, and then he got what he deserved. Blow it up. Uh-oh. And Godzilla gets buried in the snow for 7 years until 1962's King Kong versus Godzilla. Mm-hmm. Just like the original, the ending happens in the daytime. Yep. There's a fire. Some of the planes do go down. Not as dramatic as killing him in the water with the oxygen destroyer, but hey, it works. It's a different ending. Another plane down. That's right, burn. See, some of the planes do take it. But some of the pilots, we didn't know them very well. Kobayashi, we knew since the beginning of the film. Another plane destroyed, man. But kamikaze pilots have to do what they must to get the job done. There it is. Buried in the snow for 7 years. Like Han Solo getting, covered in carbonite for 3 years in Empire Strikes Back. Yep, got buried in the snow. This is as dramatic as it gets. And Skioka doesn't die, so at least it's not a downbeat ending like the original. Not as downbeat. He still lost his best friend. Mm-hmm. Yep. This was 81 minutes. It added some time because, I started the movie a little bit later. Yeah, now he does his little speech before the movie ends. You only beat him, he'll be back though. Many, many times. It's an emotional ending, but it's not too dramatic. So that was Godzilla Raids again, guys. I'm glad I got to rewatch it. It's been a while. Not a classic like the original, but it still has its moments. It's a first sequel in many to come. We're not even close to being done. Show me the sign. There it is. It is what it is, and it will spawn a franchise that would go on for decades to come. So this was not the last movie, not even close. We're still getting movies to this day, you know, with, of course, with other monsters and, you know, a big, fast monster verse. And it's working. I mean, the last movie did well. People like to see monsters fighting. Who knew? It's a concept that actually works. It's why Pokemon's been around for decades as well. It didn't fizzle yet. Yeah, it's good. It's still fine for what it is. Decent sequel to the first one. And it's not a tragedy like the first one, you know, it's much more serious. But thanks for watching. Acknowledge me, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be doing Godzilla versus Mothra. Yeah. My favorite in the franchise. See you later.